Good afternoon, everybody. I'm John Daly, and let's see, we're letting other people in. So, Rosie, you're there. How are you? Am I muted? No, I'm not muted. Today, we're going to talk about
Hi, John. I'm gonna be stepping out, okay, at 1:30 for another Zoom.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, very good. I hope that we can get right to the meat of things before then. We're going to today talk about how to balance working remotely with your work and your family and your life, even if you work from home. This course is designed for those who work at home to conquer challenges of doing so. There's a bunch of things that we're going to talk about that all really make a big difference about working at home. I know that I have been working at home now for the past 10 years, and I have an office set up that is strictly my office. And when I go into my office, I let everyone in my house know that I'm going to the office now, and they know that what I'm doing, and do not disturb me, or if they do disturb me, their heads will be chopped off. No, I'm kidding. But it does help to let people know what's going on. When you are working, you have to make sure that you leave work at work.
Hey, Steve.
I'm sorry. Make sure that your work environment is clean and tidy and so on, and we'll go through all of that. You establish a work schedule for yourself. Very important that you establish a work schedule. Don't work just when you feel like working and not work when you don't feel like working, because it's very difficult to make that mind switch. So make a work schedule for yourself, and those can be any hours that you want them to be, especially if you're working in a position where you don't have to take meetings and so on and so forth. If you're taking meetings, you do those all at a certain time. Stress management is very important, and you have to make sure that you don't have a lot of things that are stressing you out around your work schedule. And it's very important that you keep your stress level from your home life to your work life separate. Acknowledge distractions when you have distractions and move on. Move on for those. Acknowledge that not everything goes according to plan, so you've got to be flexible. It's very important to be flexible. Not only, it's the same way that you would do in a workplace. You have to be flexible with your day. Make sure your work environment is organized, clean. The kids' toys are cleaned up and so on and so forth around your workplace. It's pleasant and well lit, and it's free of distractions. Now, you'll see that this was a little nook. Both of these places are little nooks that we built an office in. I suggest that if you are working facing a wall like this, and you're working on your computer, that you put a mirror on the wall, so to the side of your computer, so you can see if somebody comes up from behind you. It's just the way humans are built, we want to know what's going on all around us, and it just really makes it easier and more. It lowers the stress level, believe it or not, to know what's going on behind you. This has got you've got the workplace all set up, and it's neat and tidy, and have things ready to be able to get to them like if you have files that you need to be in all the time, go through and put those on one of the shelves that are up above. Or another thing that you can do is you can do a small filing cabinet underneath your little desk that you've put together. If you're working at your dining room table, a lot of people do that. But remember that you've got a family there too. And that your family needs to know that this is your work area. And that things should not be touched on that work area, so you can keep it neat and tidy for yourself. That's the important thing here. I really stress an awful lot through this class that you have to really take care of yourself. It's much more important when you're working from home than it is necessarily when you go into the office, because when you go in the office, you don't have the other distractions of home life. Prepare for the workday. Treat working at home like you treat going to the workplace. So get up in the morning and shower and shave if necessary, if you shave, and dress in work clothes. This sets your mind in gear for work. It's a big, big difference on what you will accomplish throughout the day. Sweatpants and a t-shirt are not work attire. And you don't perform the same when you're dressed in those clothes that you do when you get yourself dressed and go into the office for a full work day. Your production will show the difference, I promise you. I know that for myself, it's very important for me to get up in the morning. I have a routine that I get up in the morning an hour before everybody else in my house, and I have 1 hour to myself that I do not work at. I just do things that are me things, like I read the news on my computer, not my work computer, but my computer in the house. And I keep that time for myself. Then I go and I have my coffee and I've had my breakfast, and I go and I shower and I shave and I get myself dressed. And then I go into the office. And it really makes a huge, huge difference. Your production honestly shows the difference. Organize your day. Do the things that you least like first. I know that I, for instance, do not like the accounting end of business. It's something that is very, very necessary, and it's got to be done. But I do those things first thing in the morning. And that way I don't have those things hanging over my head all day, knowing that I've got to do something else. I've got to end up doing things that I don't like. I usually do all my accounting and such early in the morning because my head is clear. And I seem to be most geared at that time for, taking care of things like that. Another thing that's really important when you're working from home is only check your email every half hour. As a matter of fact, I think that's really important when you're in the office, to only check your email every half hour. Otherwise, you're totally distracted all through the day with emails that you're trying to answer, or you think that you've got to answer, and it takes you off of the project that you're doing. Open your snail mail at a given time and take care of each thing then. For instance, when you open up your mail and you take, on a regular day, if you have a day that you do all your accounting, which I do, I have a day that I do all my accounting things and write checks and so on and so forth, and and deposit checks and so on. Only touch a piece of mail twice. That's when you open it and when you put it into your bill paying basket or whatever. If you've got to read something in your mail that has to do with work, read it then. Don't put it off to make a stack of things. Read it then and act upon it. So you can do away with that piece of paper. So you don't have a big stack of paper all over your desk and things all spread out. It's much easier. Touch a piece of mail only twice. Once again, I stress that. Not only is it good when you're in the workplace, it's good when you're at home or wherever you are working from remotely. I like to take all of my mail. I do my mail usually at the beginning of the day. Even though my mail comes in the late afternoon, by then I'm not going to do my mail. I'm in another place working on different things. I do my mail the next morning and I get that all taken care of and I put it into the baskets that are required and move forward from there. If you wear different hats at work, like if you are your accountant and you are your salesperson and you are anything else, whatever else it might be, the accounting salesperson, you're in charge of writing proposals and putting together work-related agendas and so on and so forth. Just wear one hat at a time. It's a big deal. If you're trying to go from one thing to the other, to the other, to the other, it really gets you confused and takes down your progress for everything else. I already said this, but choose a time that you do all your accounting on a certain day or days. Maybe you do it on a couple of different days. And accounting, even if you're not your accountant, even if you have an accountant that you send all your bills off to and so on and so forth, that's okay, but that's an exercise that happens. Do it all at once. Try and work with figures in the beginning of the day when you're really fresh. So if you've got accounting things that you have to do, then do it then. However, I say all that with the caveat of what time of day are you most creative? What time of day do you really spark? I know for myself, my creativity is after lunch. I work in the morning and get all my things done, my phone calls made, my accounting done, my mail done, and so on and so forth. I do all that, get that all taken care of in the morning. I break for lunch, and that's something that we're going to talk a lot about. I'll break for lunch, and after I break for lunch, then I come back and I really seem to be the most creative then. And that's when I do all my creative thinking, my if I'm putting together, for instance, PowerPoints like I do for these classes. I do all these things in the afternoon. It just happens to be that I'm much more creative in the afternoon. So I want to be creative when I put together a PowerPoint. So therefore, that's why I would do it in the afternoon. You may be the opposite. You may be the most creative in the morning. Just switch it up. Everything, the thing that you need to do when working from home, if that's so important, is you are the guide to what gets done when. Much more so than when you're in the office. So make sure that you build everything around you. This is really about you. Create a deadline list. Make yourself finish projects by a certain time. If you've got a proposal that is due on Friday, I say the best thing to do is make sure that that proposal or whatever, I say proposal, but I mean any other work thing that is related to that type of a deadline. Make sure that you get it done the day before. If you do not finish the project, work overtime. It will avoid stress in the end. I don't know when you would take the extra time, but figure it out that maybe you wake up earlier in the morning or maybe you work later in the night. But try and finish the projects on time. Don't leave projects until the end. I know that I am the kind of person personally that I need deadlines. And so in order to really produce well, I need deadlines. So you need to prepare for the deadline, organize everything that you need to do to finish out that deadline, and then execute it. Establish a work schedule. Plan ahead and allow time for last-minute tasks. For instance, you let somebody else in. Plan ahead and allow for last-minute tasks. If you've gotten your things done that you're supposed to do, that you know you have to do, then you're ready to be able to take up for last-minute tasks or things that you didn't know were going to come. Plan ahead for vacation time or holidays. Plan ahead, meaning if you're working from home, you don't have that interaction that you would normally have with other people nearly as much, although I suggest that it's very important that you keep in contact with your fellow workers through email or through texting or by telephone. That works just as well. It's really important that you let people know that you are planning to take a vacation or holidays. And when you're making out your schedule, figure it all out around that time. Always write down your day for the next day, the day before. So write a to-do list. I am a firm believer in to-do lists because when you are doing a to-do list or when you write a to-do list, you get to check things off or cross things off. And that's a great, it's a great feeling of accomplishment to be able to do that. Try and plan your client calls and meetings around a certain time. So you know that whenever your house is the most quiet, that's when you could do your client calls. For instance, if you're working at home and you have children in the house and those children take a nap from 12 to 1 o'clock, that's when you should have your client calls. That's not when you should be having your lunch. Because that's in your work schedule, that's really helping you serve your client the best, or your boss, or whoever it is that you're going to be talking to. Remember that I know that you have to answer to someone, but it's good if you can do it around those particular times. Allow for personal time. You don't want this to be happening every hour. Like, you don't want to have something interrupting every hour of the day. So you want to plan things a certain way, like picking up kids from school if needed, if you happen to have to do that, or doctor's appointments. If you can schedule your doctor's appointments for the afternoons or the mornings or whichever, it doesn't matter, but try and do them all in the same time frame, before noon or afternoon. And then you know that all those things are going to be taken care of after you've gotten your work done. Grocery shopping, meeting friends, and so on and so forth. Breaks, it's very important to take a break. It's very important to get up from your desk and leave the desk. And I don't mean go and do household chores at that time. That's not what you want to do. You want to keep that separate. You need a break for yourself. Maybe that break, all it is you get up and you go out and you take a walk around the block. Or you go out into the garden for a few minutes, or on your patio or whatever. But get out and take a break, get away from the computer. It's the computer or the phone or whatever else. Exercise. It's really important to exercise, because that gets rid of a lot of stress, and stress is coming not only from your home life, but from your work life. And you need to exercise. These, by the way, the things that I'm talking about are not only if you're working from home, but if you're working at the office, it's important that you do these things. Meditate. If you're a person that can meditate, I strongly recommend that you do it. Or if you don't meditate, if you're not the kind of person that meditates, take some time for yourself and do something for you, whatever that happens to be. Very important. It will make a huge difference. That 10-minute break will make a huge difference in your performance after you've come back from the 10-minute break. Leave work at the workplace. So if you have a room in your home that you're working in, or like the cubby that I just showed you, if that's the case, that's fine. But leave the office and close the door. Close the door and not have anything to do with working in the office. Because once that door is closed, it's like leaving the office for the day. And that's when you can take off your shoes and put on those sweatpants and your t-shirt again. Because you've got everything taken care of. You've closed the drawers in your office. You've shut down your computer. And something that is really difficult to do, but is very important to do, is don't look at emails on your phone. It's very hard not to do that. But don't do business texts after hours. And there's several reasons for that. One of the main reasons is it puts you back into the work mode, and that's not where you want to be. That's one of the reasons. But another reason is you don't want people thinking that they can get a hold of you 24/7. You want people to believe that you have work hours, and whatever those happen to be, whether it's 8 to 5 or 9 to 5 or 10 to 7 or whatever, you can make up your own work hours, but only be available during those times to other people. You may want to answer them, but I suggest that you don't do business things in the evening. You're robbing yourself of your time, and you're robbing, unless the evening is part of your working hours. A lot of people I know that work from home will work from 2 o'clock in the afternoon until 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and that works out best for them. So whatever it happens to be, but just keep your hours more on business hours, regular business hours. So you're not being expected to jump through hoops 24/7. Very important. It just causes burnout. Stress management. Always leave your work environment for lunch and for breaks. When you have lunch, get up, walk away from your desk. Do not eat at your desk. You may think that you're accomplishing a lot more, but in the end, I guarantee you that in the end, you're going to be hurt more from that because you're not going to be performing as well. If you are working during lunch, it's not a good thing. Meditate or take a few minutes of silence. Like I said before, take quiet time. Observe the 24-hour rule. The 24-hour rule is a really important thing to do. And that is, if you have gotten an email or a letter or a phone call or something that's upsetting, you don't want to act on it right away. Definitely not act on it right away. Give yourself 24 hours. Give yourself a night of sleep. Very important to do that. Your answer will be completely different in the morning than it is the night before. And you may say, well, I don't care. I'm going to, because you're angry, that you're going to shoot off this email and say something that in the morning you could say the same thing, but you could say it in a different tone and you could end up helping yourself more than you can be helping yourself a lot more than I just put on the chat. I saw that somebody's leaving early. So acknowledge distractions that may happen. Do you have dogs barking? Do you have neighbors that have dogs? Do you have a dog that barks? Acknowledge the distraction and move on. Baby crying, you don't want to have that. If that's happening, obviously you have to attend to it, but attend to whatever those things are and then move on, keep on working. Or how about the one of the gardener mowing the lawn during your conference call? If you know that your gardener comes at a certain time, if you have a gardener, if you know that they come at a certain time, try not to schedule a conference call around that time. It's just, or have a room that you can go to that will be quiet. If there's multiple people working within one household, that's better. Better for you because everybody will be more on the respectful of each other. It's kind of hard to have a child understand that mommy or daddy is working right now and they can't be disturbed. But it's something that they've got to learn in order for you to be productive in your home life and in your work life, both. Very important. Acknowledge that not everything goes according to plan, so be flexible. Always be ready with a plan B, just in case. Know that you could do something else just in case. I suggest if you're doing something that it has to do with working outside or something, check the weather, plan ahead. What is going on? Are you an event planner? I'll go back to being an event planner again for a moment. Are you an event planner and do you have to find out what the weather is going to be all about? check it out before it happens, and make a plan B just in case. Always plan ahead. Be on your toes. Think ahead. What may go wrong? Always think, and I don't mean that you should be a downer, but always think of the things that could possibly go wrong. You don't want a lot of things going wrong and you're not prepared for it. And then how do you see things working out? If you have planned, if you know that something goes wrong, how do you see it working out? What is it that you can do? That's being ready with your plan B. Very important that you do all of these things. Break out family time. Make room for family time. Do an activity with the family after work. So when you've closed up your office, and by the way, another wonderful thing about being able to work from home or working not in an office is that you can make your own hours as long as you're getting your job done. So you may just decide that you want to do something special with your family and for the afternoon. That's great. Close your office doors, turn off your computer, and do it with your family. Work with your family. Play with your family. Put away your phone and focus on your family. I'm going to tell you a story about what happened to me and what taught me how to not be on my phone all the time. My granddaughters used to come and visit every summer when they were younger, and they would come and visit, and I would take them to the theme parks, and I would take them, to Universal Studios or to the beach or to any things, the zoo, any things that would be a lot of fun for them. But I always had my phone on me, and I would always take the calls, and I was on my phone really a lot. I didn't realize how much I was on my phone, but I was on my phone a lot. And what happened was, at the end of the visit, they wrote us a thank you note. And they drew a thank you note, and there was a picture of Grandma taking cookies out of the oven. She had baked cookies for them, and Grandma does that all the time. And there was a picture of Grandma taking the cookies out of the oven on the front, and a picture of Grandpa with his head on a phone. So the kids saw me as constantly being on the phone. It taught me the biggest lesson ever, that whenever I was with those kids, whenever they came to visit, I was not going to answer my phone. You don't have to answer a phone just because it's ringing, or you don't have to be on a text because a text or an email or whatever, and checking your emails and so on. You don't have to be doing that every 5 minutes. The world goes on. It really does go on. So don't take away from your family by working during the family time. TV time is not family time. Family time is when you are with the kids, or whatever the age is, by the way, whatever age your kids are. If you have kids, or maybe you don't have kids, maybe you're a single person. That's okay. Have time for yourself or have time for your family. Don't sit in front of a TV and think that you spent the whole evening with your family, because yeah, you were all in the same room, but you certainly weren't connected to each other. I am a strong believer in having a meal together every day. Set a time for this. If you're going to have your meal at 6 o'clock at night, and this is once again, when you're making your work schedule, make it so it fits that in. And say you have dinner at 6 o'clock, everybody knows that at 6 o'clock, everybody's at the dinner table. It's so important that people get together and have this family time. I know that the kids may have homework and they're working on the homework, or other people are doing other things, or they're doing sports, or they're doing whatever. Figure this all out and make your dinner time at a certain time. It's very important for the growth of your family to be able to sit and be able to talk to each other and plan ahead and let the kids know that you're working, when you're working, what you're accomplishing, and what's going on in your life. They're really interested. They may act and roll their eyes if, like, when you start talking about it, but they really do want to know. Don't forget to attend the kids' sporting events or concerts. I know that it sounds like I'm telling you how to raise your family, and I don't mean to be sounding that way, but schedule your day around that. Schedule your day around those things. So maybe you have to, instead of starting at 8 o'clock in the morning, maybe you're going to have to start at 6 or 7 in the morning. So you can leave and go be a part of whatever the sporting event is, or the concert, or so on and so forth. So important. Work is really important, but family is first. Most important thing. You have to take care of your family. Make one-on-one time for your partner. Make sure that you have time that you can sit down and you can really talk. Put away all distractions before sitting down. I like to take my phone and put it into another room when my wife and I are going to have time to just sit and talk, and we usually do that over dinner. But during dinner, that phone is not at the table, and the kids don't have their phones. Nobody has their phones at the table because it's a distraction, and it will take away from the time that you get to spend with your kids. This is all really important so your kids understand why you have to work, and what it is that when you say to them, I have to work, they're not going to feel as though they've been neglected because you've given them time of yourself. Always listen to what the person is saying to you, talk, and then listen some more. It's so important. People forget to listen. And it's really important. Breaking routine. Take a day trip over the weekend. Or maybe you're not going to take it over the weekend. Maybe you're in a position that you can take a day trip during the week. That's okay. Just do something to break the routine. Learn how to cook a new meal. Maybe that's something that you love to do. Maybe you love to work in the kitchen. Maybe you love to work in the garden. Whatever it is, do something different. And maybe one night, make a picnic basket for the family and enjoy it in your living room. Go and spread a tablecloth on the living room rug or floor, and all of you sit down and have a picnic together. That's just reason for conversation to begin with. It's all really important. Take the afternoon off, spur of the moment. But once again, when I say when you're taking the afternoon off, close the office door, close off the computer, maybe go to the beach, go to the gym, whatever it is that you want to do. Breaking routine should be routine. Getting a good amount of sleep really helps a lot. Set a sleep schedule. I know that's kind of hard to do, but it's something that's really important. Let go of anxieties before going to bed. Don't take work to bed with you if you can help it. And try not to go to bed angry. Now, remember I told you about that 24-hour rule. The 24-hour rule, you may not be thinking about what the problem was, but if you are, try not to let it get you angry. I don't believe in watching TV. A lot of people go to sleep watching TV, but I don't watch the news before I go to bed. I just find that it's a lot of things that I can do nothing about whatsoever happening in the world, and it just upsets me, and then I can't sleep. So don't watch TV or read your phone, your news on the phone or whatever before you're going to sleep. Take care of yourself. Be good to yourself. Eat properly, sleep properly, exercise properly, enjoy life properly. Enjoy your family. You can enjoy work a lot more if you're enjoying your family on the times that are given to enjoy your family. Working from home can be great. Keep work. Let everyone in the house know that you are working now and you cannot be disturbed. If you announce it in the house that I'm going into work mode now, please don't disturb me. People will be much better about that. Communicate with your family or your housemates what you are doing. It's important. If people don't know what you're doing, you can't expect them to be quiet or to leave you alone. Make sure you take a break. I know I've said this again and again today, but make sure you take a break and don't eat at your desk. That's a really big deal. I know I drink plenty of water throughout the whole day. You notice me drinking water while I'm sitting here and giving the lesson. It's very important to me to drink a lot of water during the day. Enjoy yourself at work and on your off hours. If you've enjoyed yourself at work, then you're having a good day. And then you can enjoy your off hours as well. Don't overwork just because you can. I know that a lot of times people say, oh, I've got the office right here. I can open up the door and I can sit down and I can work whenever I want to work. Don't overwork just because you can. You'll burn out from work. Separate your life or you'll burn out from both. Separate both work and your playtime. I hope that this has been helpful to you and that you've gotten some good tips for today, and that I would love to have you go to the survey and give us a feeling of how you feel that this seminar went for you today. It's important to us to know how we're doing so we can improve or do whatever it is that you would like us to do. I thank you very, very much for listening in today. And that's it. Just enjoy life. Thank you.